In a shocking turn of events, Orsted stock has plummeted to unprecedented lows following the U.S. government's suspension of its Revolution Wind project off the coast of Rhode Island. This decision has sent ripples through the renewable energy sector, raising questions about the future of wind energy investments in the United States. On August 25, 2023, shares of Orsted, the leading developer of offshore wind farms globally, experienced a staggering 17% drop. This decline came after the U.S. Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, BOEM, issued a work stop order for the Revolution Wind project, which was already 80% complete, with 45 out of the planned 65 turbines installed. The wind farm was anticipated to provide electricity to approximately 350,000 homes in Rhode Island and Connecticut starting next year. This suspension marks the second significant halt of an offshore wind initiative by BOEM this year, following the earlier suspension of Equinor's Empire Wind 1 project off New York. The backdrop to this controversy includes former President Donald Trump's vocal opposition to renewable energy, which he has labeled as expensive and unreliable. His administration has previously put a freeze on new offshore wind leases, pending further environmental and economic evaluations. Despite this setback, Orsted, which is partially owned by the Danish government, remains resolute in its commitment to the U.S. market. The company has announced plans for a $9.4 billion rights issue aimed at bolstering its capital structure in light of what it describes as material adverse developments in the U.S. offshore wind market. This move comes after the cancellation of a partial divestment of its Sunrise Wind project in New York. The Danish Finance Ministry, which supports the rights issue, indicated that the work stop order was anticipated within the risk profile of its investment strategy. Equinor, which holds a 10% stake in Orsted, has also expressed its intention to carefully assess the implications of the rights issue. Orsted's shares, which had already fallen by 30% since the announcement of the rights issue on August 11th, hit a record low of 173.4 Danish crowns, $27.15, before trading at 179.6 crowns, reflecting a 16.1% decrease by 14:37 GMT on Monday. Analysts remain cautiously optimistic, suggesting that the suspension of the Revolution Wind project could potentially be overturned, similar to how Equinor's Empire Wind 1 project resumed operations after diplomatic interventions by Norway. However, the current diplomatic tensions between Denmark and the U.S., exacerbated by Trump's controversial remarks about Greenland, could complicate any efforts to resolve the situation favorably for Orsted. Recently, Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen signed an agreement in California to strengthen ties with California Governor Gavin Newsom, who has been openly critical of Trump. In Denmark, opposition lawmakers have raised concerns regarding the government's backing of Orsted's rights issue. Lars Christian Brask, the foreign policy spokesperson for the Liberal Alliance, has suggested that while diplomatic channels should be explored, legal avenues might provide a more viable path to resolution. He cautioned that discussions with Trump could inadvertently bring up sensitive topics like Greenland. Analyst Pierre-Alexandre Ramondenc from Alpha Value has characterized the U.S. administration's actions as political hostage-taking, given the advanced stage of the Revolution Wind project. In a joint statement, Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont and Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee condemned the suspension, vowing to pursue every possible avenue to reverse the order. They argued that this political maneuver by the Trump administration would lead to increased electricity costs and contradict the administration's previous assurances. As the situation unfolds, it raises critical questions about the future of renewable energy projects in the U.S., and the potential impact of political decisions on the energy market. What do you think? Is this a temporary setback for Orsted, or does it signal deeper issues within the U.S. renewable energy landscape? Share your thoughts in the comments.